Hey guys, and welcome to this advanced track guide for Watkins Glen Cup in the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup Car. So just to start off today guys, it's a pretty basic track, very high speed, short lap, a lot of draft, so it's typically going to be quite hard to break away here. The lap times are going to be really close in qualifying, and as you can see just from the stint here, it's pretty easy to be consistent here. So it's going to be a tough one for sure in terms of racing, but in terms of actually driving, it's one of the more basic circuits we go to. So today will probably be quite a quick one, but I'll do my best to help you guys out. So turn one, you're looking up towards the 300 here. You can see already bringing some brake in, nice and slow to threshold, same as always. With it being downhill, going to make your life that a little bit more difficult. You've got gravity working against you here as you're trying to get the car slowed for turn one, but it's important to get the car slowed down a lot right on the apex so you can pick up the power really early. You can see we're already back to half throttle before we've actually gotten to this inside curb. Now you don't want to be right down over this far inside here, as this is it's pretty flat. This part of the curb is still banked up until this darker bit of curb in here. So you want to just sort of wrap your inside wheels around this. So in towards turn one, you want to carry speed into the corner, but you do need to be aware that it's better to be slightly slower on entry and carry speed on exit than vice versa. So we're very aggressive on the brakes, aggressive on the trail. At this point, I'm like, right, the car is slowed. I've hooked the camber of the corner, and I can be really aggressive back to power. And as soon as it hits that curb and it feels settled through the wheel, which it did, you can see we're 90% and then we're 100% throttle before we even get to this outside. Now you can track this right out, of course. There's no off track for any of this, but it's just a case of trying to manage the exit and also managing the off track, which you can see. I think we've come pretty damn close to that here. I think half the car over that inside is an off track, so we've missed it by about that much. Is how close we've come. So you can see that's how much speed we've carried on exit, as we've washed right out over the outside curb and almost clipped the grass. But this is still quicker than sending it deep on the brakes. It's still quicker than sending it deep on the brakes and having absolutely no exit speed whatsoever than tracking it out on the exit and just dodging the off track. So up through here it is flat, but however it's not easy flat, so I will go over this just quickly. Into here, you know, in a GTE car or a prototype or something, you can just send it into the banking, and these two aren't really corners, but in this thing it definitely is. It's something you need to think about. So we're opening the corner right out. We're going to open the first right. We're going to open up the first right, and you can see here we're already kind of correcting as we come in, and you want to keep it tight to this white line on the exit. Keep it as tight as you can. Have our right hand wheels right up against the curb. Don't hit it because it will unsettle the car. Just keep your right hand wheels on the yellow and keep it tighter on the exit, and then this will allow you to open up the left. The first lap of the race, this won't be flat, so don't try and do this on the first lap, because unless it's really cold conditions. And here we're 27 air temp, 43 track. If you've got something in the mid 30s, like if it's an overcast or a mostly cloudy session, then this probably is flat out. However, in upwards of 40-degree track temp, I'd advise against it just to be safe. So you're going to keep it tight on the exit of that right to open up the left, and again, same as before, don't get up over this curb on the inside. It's going to push you wide. And then as you come up through the left here, watch for this wall on the exit. Here it was the third lap of the race. The car felt fine, but the first lap or two is a little bit sketchy, and then as you go on, it does get a little bit sketchier near the end again. So it should be flat. However, if you do need a lift, it's fine, but it will cost you a lot of speed. So just remember that. Tight, open up the right on entry, keep it tight on the exit, and then up through the left, keep it flat, and that you should be good. So into the bus stop, we're looking at the 400 board. As soon as we cross that 400 on the left, you can see just going out of shot, we're trailing off the throttle, trailing onto the brake. Again, slowing to threshold, quite aggressive on the brakes, down into fourth gear. There's a big dip right in the track here, which you want to dip into. It will help pull the car around to the right. Can get you loose if you hit it a little bit too fast, but for me personally, I like to just keep it in fourth through this section. No reason to go down to third, so just down into fourth, clip the right, And then as soon as you hit this curb on the left, you want to start picking the power up. You can see left front wheels is now over the inside curb, and we're already back to 50% throttle. And then as you're coming out here, you want to keep it tight. There's no reason to be away out here. You can keep it tight up over the curb on the inside, and as soon as the car comes up over that and feels settled, you're back to full throttle. So obviously there's a couple of different ways of taking this this chicane, but I think the best way is just to take the right, open up the double left, keeping it in fourth, picking up the power as you hit the inside curb, full throttle, and then lifting off just a little bit before, because if you try and go full throttle over this, you're going to end up off in the grass doing some lawn mowing. So lift just a little bit before you get to it down to about 50%, and then as you hit it, the car takes the bumps, settles, back to full throttle again, and then you come into the carousel. So into here, left-hand wheels just want to brush this seam coming in to the carousel. You don't want to be way out to the outside because you're just going to lose a ton of time. The corner's banked. You can afford to enter it just a little bit tighter. And then on the inside, you want to start spotting out a couple reference points. So like these lights, the brake in the grass and stuff like that is a good throttle pickup point. So we're coming up to it, we've picked up some throttle, and then through here it's just about on and off the throttle just to get the car rotating. Utilize this inside curb. This will pull the car around the corner as well as the cambered circuit, the cambered surface. And then utilizing this fence on the inside as well. Use this as a throttle pickup point. So I was utilizing it as basically as soon as I get to it, that's my key to start getting back to full throttle. So as we come past it, throttle, I wasn't quite getting the rotation I wanted at this point in the corner. Now normally if this was just the boot layout, you'd be coming off this corner, you'd already be flat here and tracking it right out, but obviously it tightens on exit, so we're just needing to be a little bit more patient on the throttle. And then here you can see we're full throttle, still keeping our right hand wheels on the curb basically the full way around this corner just to keep the car rotating. You can see as soon as we've picked up any kind of decent throttle, once you pass this access road, get your right hand wheels onto it, use this fence as a bit of a reference, and then as soon as you're past it and the car feels settled, back to full throttle, tracking it right out to the grass here. Obviously there's going to be a couple big crashes here of people trying to go too wide through here, or someone just misjudges the exit, brushes the left hand wheels on this bit of grass. It's cambered downhill, so if someone hits this, it's going to want to push them into that wall and they're going to come bouncing back across the track. Seen a couple bad accidents here in real life NASCAR when they've come here. I'm sure that this will be no different. So already final two corners, as I say, short lap. Looking at the 300 board on the outside, or what I prefer to use is just as the grass begins to open out here. As soon as you come over the top of that, onto the brakes, and you want to put your right hand wheels right up into this groove here, just help open up this left hander, allow you to carry more speed through the corner. So you can see we're right up against the grass on the outside here. As we get to the 200 board, we're starting to look to the inside, starting to look at the cambered corner. You can see this concrete strip in the middle of the track. You want your right hand wheels to be right in that, your left hand wheels to be right up against the curb, sometimes even over it. In this car you can get away with it, it should help rotate the car. And you can see the left hand wheels comfortably to the inside, right hand wheels are right in the middle of this concrete strip, and that would just pull the car around the corner. And you can see earlier we're picking up throttle as well and how aggressive we are on pickup. So, and from in the car, I'm looking at this point in the curb here. I'm thinking, right, well, I want to pick up throttle before I get to this point, which I have done. And then it's just a case of eyeing up the trajectory of the car. If you get back to throttle a little bit too early, or you carry too much speed on entry, it's going to push out and you're going to be out in the grass. And again, same as the previous corner, it's going to push you down the hill and into this wall, and there's a good chance you'll bounce back out onto the track. So coming into here, you're braking at the 300. Once you pass the 200, you're eyeing it up. Get your left hand wheels to the inside of this concrete strip, as close to this curb as possible. And as you come past this little bit of the curb, as it begins to kind of bend, and then it bends even tighter on the exit, these are your cues to get back to throttle. So once you pass this bit, you're basically full throttle on exit and just tracking it right out to the grass. Use as much track as you can. As you can see, we're pretty close to that, and then you need to focus on getting back across to the left, looking for the end of this tire barrier on the left. As soon as you cross that, on the brakes, and then the same as the previous corner, you want your right hand wheels on the inside of this concrete strip, your lefts comfortably in the middle of it, and then you're using this inside curb again as a throttle pickup point. You want to start picking up the throttle just before you get to it, which you can see right front wheel's getting to it. We're just about to come off the brake. We're already getting some throttle back into the car, and then we've hit that apex on the right hand side up to about 60-70% throttle here, maybe even 75, and then on the exit it's just a case of trying to manage the understeer slash oversteer. You can see we've got quite a bit of steering lock in here. We're applying power in gently, and the whole way on the exit the corner here, you're just trying to eye the trajectory of the car, make sure you're not going to clip this wall which sticks out right on exit. It's very easy to clip a left rear on that, and you can see here that's how you know you've carried a good amount of speed off the corner. Right as it's beginning to straighten up, the car is just wanting to step out ever so slightly, and we're having to correct here, and then getting it back to the right before we get the off track for clipping the grass here. Again, same as the exit of turn 1, that's close, but we've got away with that. You can track that right out, and after that, down at the start finish line. So hopefully you guys have found this track guide useful. As I say, it's a pretty basic track, only 8 corners. So qualifying is going to be tight, the racing is going to be tough, a lot of slipstream, tough to pass as well. So as I say every other week, if there's any kind of questions or anything, guys, stick them in the respective car channel on Discord, and I'll get back to you. I mean, it can be anything about setup, tires, braking technique, the circuit, you know, how to go about practice, just any kind of questions you guys can think of. Just ask in the car channel, and me or one of the other coaches will get back to you as soon as we can. So with that, I'm going to wrap this up here, guys. Hopefully you guys have found this useful, and best of luck this week.